The only thing that ever was against Jon Rahm was Jon Rahm. He would get in his own head. He would get in battles with himself and his caddy, and he would like struggle with certain things internally. When he's walking off a green to the next tee box, he's a laser focused villain. Like you see that in his face, and he's like, he's actually making the noise, like I'm gonna kill somebody out here, and I love that out of him.
Fore Players by Barstool Sports. This is the 2023 Masters Knee-Jerk Reaction Podcast. Big congratulations to a friend of the program, Jon Rahm. If you haven't listened yet, maybe the most universal praise we've ever gotten for one of our shows. We sat down with Jon Rahm, myself, Frankie, and Trent about a month and a half ago or so, I guess it was at this point, for maybe an hour and a half. He was phenomenal. He showed up alone. He said, you can ask me anything. He chit-chatted with us afterwards, was telling stories, laughing. He's into what's your show there? Big Bang Theory, Trent?
Big Bang Theory. That's a big win for us today.
Big win for you guys. So awesome guy. A lot to get to. It was good versus evil. Good prevailed in the end. And we have a huge announcement. Which is that.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I didn't forget, but I kind of forgot.
On Monday morning, you will be able to download the patch that now has the foreplay guys, the three of us, myself, Frankie, and Trent, in PGA Tour 2K23. Our characters are in it. We've seen them. We worked with them. We did the whole scanner. It was like 85 cameras. We had to do all kinds of different poses on our faces and our heads and our bodies and everything else. We're now, as of Monday morning, in the video game.
It's unbelievable that this day has come. I mean, think about all the streams we did, all the hours that we put into that video game, trying to make our players look like us. Trent spent hours trying to get khakis on his guy and like a dark shirt and maybe the glasses that would fit him. And everyone was so into it. And now the fact that we have our players that look exactly like us. I mean, I will say that my guy's a little fucking buff. I'm going to get some comments on the fact that my guy's looking a little muscular.
It's a wedding diet.
That's, I'd rather go that way than the other way. They could have given me like a little fucking, milk belly, and they did not, thankfully. But it's crazy, guys. It's crazy. Like watching videos of our guys hit the ball and like chip and react. It's just us. It's like Riggs looks exactly like Riggs. Trent looks exactly like Trent. It's disgusting how crazy this actually is. And I'm actually at a loss for words. I teared up like looking at the characters because I know everything we do, everyone's like, you guys should like assume that you guys are doing this. Like you guys are a huge brand. Like why do you guys act so surprised every time something like this happens to you? We're in a video game. I don't know. I don't want to be the guy that acts like he's supposed to be in a video game. And if that's if we come to that, then like take me out. As Freddie Couples said to Trent, rinse me off your list. I don't want to be a part of that.
Right. We get surprised because, the job I had right before this one, I was security guard, and they were not putting a security guard in a video game. So we've kind of gone through it all. We've been making videos. We've been making podcasts. We've been doing shows for a long time now. And to have something like this happen, it's still very surprising. The characters look just like us. It's an incredible honor. The other people in the game are like Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan, Steph Curry. They just put John Cena in there, and then it's the Foreplay Boys. So like, it's a huge honor. We all grew up playing video games, so we know everything about them and what goes into it. So yeah, it's a huge honor. I can't believe that it's happening.
So yeah, go check out the game. If you don't have it yet for some weird reason, go download it. PGA Tour 2K23. We're in there. We're in the game as of Monday morning. So if you're listening to this Sunday night, we're not quite in yet, but they're releasing that puppy in the morning. The update, we're in it. We've seen all kinds of footage. We're going to be teasing as well of our characters, and it's very funny how they just look like us. We went hard to bat with them to make sure that our attributes were pretty accurate as well. So you could play with us and actually hit the golf ball to a degree, but we should stink. Like I think we pretty much stink in the game as we're supposed to. So playing with us is probably going to be pretty damn realistic.
I've seen some numbers that it's going to be, difficult to play as Trent Ryan.
I think Trent's power is somewhere, it's below 40%. I don't know. You're going to have to buy the game to actually see exactly where it's at, but he's pretty damn low. And I don't know what that equates to. I do know that it's like 60% lower than Tiger Woods. So I think,
Well, I remember when we did a video with Colin Morikawa, he said, if Trent's power is more than mine, he's going to feel disrespected. He's safe. He's more than safe. So.
Yeah, he doubled you up.
Yeah. I think he's safe. So, yeah, go check out the game. Big thanks to 2K23. They're just amazing working with us, getting us in the game. And I think it's going to have some very funny clips that we're going to see of people sending us. So, hell yeah, unreal. Very surreal moment. Had to make that announcement. Hard to say something before we actually talk about the Masters. But I'm going to say Brooks Koepka ruined the Masters is pretty much what happened.
How so?
Well, if he would have put up any fight or shown any life whatsoever today, it would have been an iconic battle down the stretch of like big putt, good versus evil, Tour versus LIV. We need Rahm, vamos, all that. He just rolled over all day today, shot 75 and ruined the Masters tournament. So for like the fourth year in a row at the Masters, we didn't have any drama down the stretch. Jon Rahm, basically, it was like he's playing at fucking Eisenhower down the street. He had no stress whatsoever. He's waiting on every shot. It was kind of a joke watching the last couple hours because Brooks Koepka ruined it.
Yeah, I mean, Brooks Koepka shot 65 in the first round, 67 in the second round. On the weekend, he shot 73, 76. So, the first kind of signs of wobble were this morning. Obviously, he missed the putt first thing in the morning. There was a 2-shot swing right away, which was game on. Then he hit a terrible drive on 10. He fanned one way out. 12, he hit like a shut-the-face pull. Bad miss from the middle of the fairway on 14. And you started to see like, okay, this is not the same Brooks that we've seen the last couple of days. Meanwhile, Rahm wasn't putting so well, but he was hitting it a lot better than Brooks was. And it just felt like Brooks was leaking oil all day. It felt like he wasn't going to make it. I mean, I think he made 2 birdies all day, and they played like 29 holes or whatever it was. So, he held on. It's crazy that it actually happened where it's like a LIV guy has the lead through 54 holes, and then a LIV guy doesn't win the tournament. But they did have 3 of the top 6. So it's hard to view the week as anything but a success for LIV. But as we were talking about earlier, if Brooks had won or if Phil had won, it would have completely been a wholly different narrative.
Yeah, that's true. I thought had the best day, maybe the best tournament of a LIV guy. And Jon Rahm I think Frankie said before the tournament started, that was Frankie's pick. He's Jon Rahm. We talk about Rory, we talk about Scottie leading up, and then we forget about this guy Jon Rahm, who's just at his best is the best golfer on planet Earth, and he proved that today, and he's a Masters champion.
Like if you're betting against Jon Rahm or you're rooting for the person that's facing Jon Rahm, you always consider him a problem. You're like, when is this guy just going to fuck up? And I was sick and tired of that being the case. I am sick and tired of betting against Jon Rahm and like not rooting for that guy who hits the ball a mile and putts perfectly and has the best lag putts and is unbelievably sound and efficient. I'm so sick of not having that guy in my corner. So I finally just said, fuck it. We're going Jon Rahm this week, and he just won. And I think he's going to do that a lot in his career. This guy is poised for victory. He's like unfoldable, like physically, literally, mentally. Like he's a bowling ball. Mm-hmm. He's a linebacker.
Could not fold him, no chance.
You can't fucking get this guy off his footing. He's just solid. And the only thing that ever was against Jon Rahm was Jon Rahm. He would get in his own head. He would get in battles with himself and his caddy, and he would like struggle with certain things internally. But now that he's conquered that, and he is just, dude, when he's walking off a green to the next tee box, he's a laser focused villain. Like you see that in his face, and he's like, he's actually making the noise. Like I'm gonna kill somebody out here, and I love that out of him. He's a killer.
Yeah, I think the way you feel about him, where it's like that's the guy you're always looking at if you're betting on someone else, that's the way the players feel as well.
Yeah.
And I remember I was talking to Fitz about the U.S. Open on the first day, and he's like, yeah, the guy I had my eye on was Rahm. It was Rahm because he's the one they're scared of. I think it was Eddie Pepperell who tweeted after he won, I don't remember if it was Riviera, but it's like among the players, he's been the one. He's been the one since he turned professional where they thought if there's going to be one guy who's going to emerge and become like truly an all-time great, it's Jon Rahm. When he turned professional, TaylorMade felt they had already signed a top 10 player in the world the day he turned pro. He finished like 5th in his first event. He's always been a prodigy, and it finally now feels like he's reaching his potential. He now has 4 wins this year, including 2 designated events and the Masters. It's only April. He's already made over $13 million. So there's really no debate right now as to who the best golfer in the world is. Scottie might win the next one, and it might be the sort of a big 2 emerging. But as of right now, Jon Rahm is alone atop the golf world, and it feels right. It feels like that's what it should be.
Yeah, I would say it's clearly 2. I think it's Scottie and Jon Rahm, and Rory has removed himself from that. You said in the last show, Dan, you can't miss the cut of the Players by $1 billion, miss the cut of the Masters by $1 billion, and be considered in the top 3 with these guys. Rahm, obviously, right now, he is the guy who's going to go back to world number one Monday morning when this thing comes out. 4 tournament wins in 2023 by April 9th. One of them being the Masters tournament is fucking unbelievable. It's his second major, the U.S. Open that he's got, which, he doesn't get enough credit for that, of how gutsy he was down the stretch there, making those big putts, doing it at Torrey, where he got his first tour win, where he got married there and loves it. So going in, putting all that own pressure on himself and getting it done, the U.S. Open at Torrey. And then the same thing here at the Masters, where he's been the guy this year, pretty much him and Scottie having that many wins. There was that moment when we had him on the podcast where we were like blown away that he wasn't number 1 in the world. He was number 3 at the time, but that's because there's been this shuffling and all that. He's obviously, after you win the Masters like that and do it pretty convincingly, go up against Brooks, who had been playing extremely well, and just get it done. Oh, and overcome waiting for Patrick fucking Cantlay.
Oh, my God.
Every hole for 15 minutes, somehow exerting the patience to get through all of that, and then come out and shoot a final round. What was he, 2 or 3 under in the final round?
69. Really
Love
classy.
That. Love that class. To do it after 4 putting the first hole and still shooting a 7 under 65 in the first round, when it looked like you kind of had to shoot a 7 under 65 because Viktor Hovland had gone so low, and it looked like Brooks Koepka was going so low. To bounce back from that and then come out and just dominate the way that he has. And then the other thing I was blown away with Jon Rahm was that he was just hitting these draws when he wanted to today. There were a few times where
like on 13
was
out of
I
nowhere.
Just picture him as this guy that only hits cuts, and he I get that guys have their go-to ball flight. Everybody does. We all understand that. But he seemed like a guy that exclusively was not playing the card like JT, where JT hits all these shot shapes, whatever. He was almost like in the DJ school of thought from 2020, where DJ was like, I'm just going to hit a 1-yard cut basically on every hole. And then they got the yellow tracer at Augusta up against the green grass, which is beautiful. And on 9, Trevor made a comment. Trevor was like, okay, based on his ball position, how he's got the club head sitting here, I think he's going to try to draw this one. He hit a fucking sick draw down the left side on the 9th fairway, and then he did the same thing again on 13. And doing that under pressure, being able to change your ball flight from that little baby cut to like a strong draw under pressure with the driver at the Masters with Brooks Koepka standing next to you, and after you've waited for 45 minutes to tee off, is fucking unbelievable. So he just is so impressive. Jon Rahm is so impressive.
And he did it from swimming upstream. The numbers say that basically he had the wrong end of the draw by 2.5 shots. The guys who didn't have to come back and finish their round yesterday morning when it was just horrific outside, that was like a 2.5 shot advantage. So he wins the tournament by 4, like you said, despite 4-putting the first green and despite being in the wrong wave. It really, really convincing in the end. And I just think how tired mentally that guy must be. They played 29 holes today. It was him and Brooks the whole time. It was a 2-horse race basically the whole time until it became a 1-horse race. And like you said, how much patience for a guy who isn't the most patient person in the world to have to sit there and wait on every single shot. It took them like 4 hours and 50 minutes to play as a twosome.
He was a problem.
We've been part of the Chevy EV family, but we've got big news. The first ever all-electric Silverado is the official Barstool's most valuable truck. We got the chance to see this thing and experience it, and it is a game changer. It's facts. It's true. The Silverado, you know it. You've seen it. You've loved it for years and years and years. Now it's in the EV, and it's incredibly impressive.
Can't wait. My lease is up. I've been talking about this, and time is starting to really dwindle down on my current lease, and I'm gonna have to make a decision. I'm on Chevy all the time. I'm on this website like you wouldn't believe. I'm making different trims. I'm checking out the EVs, the EUVs. I'm checking out Blazers, Silverados. I'm checking out all of these Tahoes, blacked out Tahoes. They're so nice. It's crazy. It's very fun. I'm at that point where like I can't go over my miles with my current lease, so I'm like not really driving my car. It's unbelievable. So I really cannot wait to get into a Chevrolet.
Available 400-mile range. GM estimated on a full charge. That's a lot. People probably worry about the charge and can you get that much range on it? 400 mile. That seems like a lot of miles. Over 10 feet of length in the bed with full multi-flex tailgate combined with the multi-flex mid-gate large 17-inch diagonal display screen. So it's got obviously all the bells and whistles, and it's EV. So you love Chevy, you love the Silverado. Yeah, now it's just EV, which is incredible. So head on over to Chevy.com to learn more. up to an impressive 785 foot-pounds of torque. Sounds like a lot of torque, boys. So again, head on over to Chevy.com to learn more.
And I didn't see, because I was obviously watching the feature coverage, but I saw like Zaire Golf or one of those accounts put up that on 15 and 16 they had just like this the camera just on the guys the entire time as they were standing on the tee box, and you can see from the picture that Rahm and Brooks were just stewing, like steaming mad at this guy, just fucking pacing off every putt and looking around and taking fucking 30 minutes to drain literally nothing. He didn't make a putt all day. I mean, Patrick Cantlay had a chance to win the Masters today. The guy was constantly putting for birdie and had all these chances. You're like, wait a minute, this guy's 7 under and he's only on the 8th hole. Like, this guy could just rattle off a couple of birdies, and then he would just 3 hours later be like 6 under, and you're like, what's wrong with this guy? Get him off the golf course. He's not going to win. Just give him his check, and that's it. Let these guys finish up. It was one of the more shocking things I've ever seen. How long that was taking.
16 was painful.
Oh,
and
my
you'd
God.
think that at that point you're like, okay, I know that the daylight's running out. I'm not going to win this tournament. Maybe I'll speed it up a little bit. He hits it to the front right of the green.
Oh.
And we were in the media center. People were groaning. They were like, he still hasn't hit this putt. It's unbelievable.
That was worst thing that could have happened was he hit it that short right on there, because
Yeah.
that putt's already impossible. Then he does the whole circle the whole time. Then he waggles his feet 400 times before. It's just like, dude,
Oh my God.
let's fucking go. And you know, look, I get it. You're playing for so much money, and like, I'm not saying you have to like go as fast as Brooks Koepka, but early on in the, you know, and this always happens where like when you're watching featured group stuff, they bounce around, but once it starts to hone in on a 2-man race, 4-man race, they start to just show obviously all of the antics of just a couple people and how fast Brooks Koepka plays. He must be infuriated out there. Like like Jon Rahm's worked so hard in his mental game that I feel like he's probably got exercises or tactics or something to help him deal with it, so that like you don't build up all this extra anxiety and all this extra frustration, because that's not going to lead to like smooth, good golf swings. But Koepka must have been furious because he plays so fast.
His transcript just came out. The first question from the press conference was, "You're a pretty fast player, as we know. Curious your thoughts on pace of play this afternoon." He said, "Yeah, the group in front of us was brutally slow. John went to the bathroom like 7 times during the round, and we were still waiting."
It was bad.
That might be the
I will
Rahm
say,
tactic.
when
He
it
goes to
comes
the
to-
bathroom. He's like hanging out. Who knows?
When it comes to pace of play, though, as long as it's within the rules, I get that like it's brutal to be slow, but like why would anyone cater to just Brooks playing fast? You know what I mean? So it is like weird that like if Cantlay's process just takes him longer, like why is that I guess just the way the world works, we want it to just be the faster version, but like why is his acceptable and the other guys is not? You know what I mean? Like Brooks plays out of control fast and Cantlay plays out of control slow. Why is Brooks not the asshole for just like constantly pushing the pace and moving on? It's like, dude, relax. We're like trying to win the Masters here.
I guess, but the one guy who's going fast is winning the Masters.
I know. I'm just saying, like, there's got to be like a common ground where it's like one guy's going outrageously fast, the other guy's going slow. Like, can't they both kind of be
It's
to blame for that situation, for there being frustration?
It's just like the public perception is everyone's played behind somebody slow, and that's the guy who's going to get the short end of the stick and nobody's going to like that guy.
Right.
And in normal scenarios, I agree with you, Frankie, where it's like, you don't need to be the jackass on every hole in the middle of the fairway and on every tee, leaning on your club, right? Doing like the club lean thing of like, oh, let's go. You're leaning on your club. That just makes everybody's day miserable too, because then when you're in front of those kinds of people, you're not comfortable, you're anxious, and you really just want to be comfortable. Having said that, we all root for faster play, not slower play. Yeah. And as a twosome, like you're saying, almost 5 hours to play as a twosome, that is fucking stunning. Like, that is just stunning. So he's got to figure that out. I think Hovland, I saw too, was doing some pretty like wild antics too of how frustrated he was. He was like scurrying around trying to be like this guy. He was like going and hitting tee shots, I think, like while Cantlay was still putting out. Hovland was basically like teeing off. So he was just slowing everybody up. But, I will say that there's, I think watching that, I think there's definitely a point to be made that like Brooks wasn't handling that well. Like, take your time, dude. If you know you're going to be waiting on every shot, like come up with something to do it differently. Don't pick your club until it's like your turn to hit, so that you kind of like slow it down a different way rather than like play your shot really quick and then just wait for 10 minutes every time. Then
it's
play
not
your
the
shot
first
really
time.
Quick. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's not the first time it's bothered him. Remember at the Kiowa, Phil was kind of slow playing him as a tactic.
Yeah,
and he said afterwards that it worked.
Yeah. Yeah, he said touche. So if you can use that to your advantage, fucking do it for sure. But it's not like Cantlay. If Cantlay was like playing with Brooks and he was doing that, I would kind of enjoy that. That'd be kind of funny. But he's just playing in front of him and like not playing fast. So it was tough. Everybody gets upset with that, especially when they just showed about a minute and a half straight clip, it felt like, of those two just standing on the 16th tee, like just waiting for things to happen. It was weird. But speaking of weird, Butler Cabin. We get it every year. The fact that they do this Butler Cabin jacket thing is so fucking bizarre. It's so weird. It's so awkward. There's no way for it not to be awkward. Everybody's mic'd up in this tight little cabin. You can hear every single thing. And they like put the jacket on the other guy, and they're like putting arms on like or hands on each other's shoulders, and it's just fucking weird, man. The whole thing.
I had mentioned to you guys before we started doing the podcast that my childhood memories I only have memories of them doing the outdoor jacket ceremony. And that's how it should be, because they do it twice. They do it in the Butler Cabin, and then they go outside. Rahm takes it off, gives it back to Scottie, and Scottie puts it back on him. That's outrageous. Just do one of them and get rid of the Butler Cabin part, because that part is awkward as shit.
Yeah, dude.
It is.
Do the one on the
Sam Bennett sitting. You know what's the person I feel the most awkward for is Scottie Scheffler, because they go around the room and they're complimenting Sam Bennett, who had a great week and gained all these fans and had just an amazing week. And then they go to Rahm, and Rahm's obviously the Masters champion, had a great week. And Scottie's just sitting there with a folded jacket in his lap, just like, all right, I just got to put this jacket on this guy, and then I'm going to get the fuck out of here. It's so weird.
He could just lay, like, Scottie's probably like, what if I just, before the ceremony, I'll just lay the jacket here, and then you guys just put it on whenever you want. Like, I'm going to go home. I just want to get the fuck out of here.
I mean, I do like the guy putting the jacket on the other guy, but there's got to be a better way to do the whole thing.
He can't need to do it over and over again all day. He should be able to be just one time, put it on him, done. So I completely agree with you on that. Tiger Woods withdrew this morning. I think one of the great no-brainers of all time. The guy made the cut. He extended that streak. He's never missed the cut as a pro in the Masters tournament. Even though he plays like 2 tournaments a year now, he still shows up, still makes the cut. The clip from yesterday, we're recording this on Sunday, from yesterday of him hobbling around on the 17th hole or whatever in the rain, one of the more alarming things I've ever seen. Clearly his plantar fasciitis situation combined with his ankle was as bad as it could possibly be. I imagine he goes through weeks like that where it's just everything acts up at the same time, and it's bad. And he has other weeks where he looks pretty good. If you remember, there are a couple different events last year that he showed up where he walked pretty damn well. And even at Riviera, I felt like he walked pretty damn well the whole time. He goes through stretches where it's not good. The weather, everybody knew that coming in. Cold, when you got all kinds of fucked up joints and bones and ankles and pieces of metal holding your ankle together. Cold, not good. Rain, not good. Wind, not good. So he woke up and clearly just withdrew. No-brainer decision. But obviously we would like him to look a little bit healthier when he's walking around.
He was walking pretty well the first couple days this week because it was warm out. 29 holes for a guy with a bionic right leg is probably not going to happen. I would venture to guess that Tiger has not played more than 18 holes in one day since the accident. So just that alone, like asking that guy to walk 29 holes on this golf course, which, as you guys know from being here, it's hillier in person than it is on TV. Yeah. That's the number one thing that people say. It's the number one cliche. I can't believe how hilly it is. I think if it was 80 degrees, that would have been a really hard ask. So nothing to prove. Wasn't going to win the tournament. Obviously doesn't need the money. He's on to Rochester.
I like it. I like this new, like, if I'm not going to win, I'm out of here. If Tiger's not going to win, just leave, dude. Just leave. You don't have to. And I saw people when he was playing in the bad weather on Saturday, whichever day, people were saying he's a professional. Look at him out there. He doesn't have to be out there. He's got nothing to prove. He doesn't need any more money. He's out there because he knows that's the right thing to do. I would do the opposite. If he's definitely not going to win, get out of there. Nobody's going to be like, oh, Tiger, you're not sticking it out. No, that's not going to be the perception. Now, him withdrawing gives Tiger haters a little bit of ammunition, being like, this guy, he shouldn't even be playing anymore. He's got to withdraw when he can't walk these courses. But I like it. If he is so far out of it and the weather's so bad and he's injured to a degree that we can't even understand, just get out of there, dude. We're not going to judge you any differently.
Yeah, it'd be amazing if he's like he's like on 16 green or something, and he sees like the leader, Jon Rahm, like Eagles 15 behind him, and he's like, I would draw.
I declare withdrawal.
That might start a new trend. Guys might just start doing that. All these guys are so rich, and if they only want trophies, they're like, "What? I'm 10 shots out of it. I got this. I'm out of here. I'm not doing this anymore."
If we're getting to this style of Tiger Woods, where it's like it's either win or go home, and it's like he would be able to compete, but he can't walk, just give the guy a golf cart. We've already gotten past the integrity of this guy's fucking career. I know we keep bringing this up. You just got to give it to him. No one cares about the integrity of his career in the game anymore.
But he doesn't want it. He doesn't want it.
I know. We got to give him the golf cart.
We got to convince him.
We got to convince him.
He won't take it.
We have to convince him to take the golf cart because the history of Tiger Woods and everything that we're going to remember him is already like all over the place. Like the guy did like when you talk about like him versus Jack, like the guy didn't play for like 10 years. He's like barely even play. Like let's just give this guy a golf cart, like incept him in his brain that no one cares about the legacy if he finished his career with a golf cart. He's going to win like 5 tournaments that this guy's just being motorized from the tee box to the green. That's what he'll be remembered by. It won't be like, how did he get there? They don't even show that on the TV.
I actually agree with what you're saying, because if you follow the logic that he has with the cart, where he's like, it goes against, the game and how I want to play it, so does withdrawing from every tournament when you can't finish.
We've entered like a new realm of Tiger Woods where he's like not even playing the game of golf. So let's just incept in his brain that that's okay. Like, let's just continue that. Let's continue this weird version of like an arcadey version where you only play the majors that you can walk flat land on. And then when you don't play well, you just like withdraw and you leave. That's not real golf anyway. So just take the cart from the tee box to the green. You're going to win. You're going to win is what's going to happen. You're going to win it.
Can you just imagine Tiger in his Sunday red coming around that corner on 18 in a golf cart?
He'll put the shades on for sure.
Dude, driving in an easy go right up 18.
Like, wouldn't you rather? And this is the question.
Music
to
playing.
him, it's no. But wouldn't you rather do that and seriously compete and be in the mix, as opposed to withdrawing on Sunday morning of the third, like when the third round's still in progress? Like, I don't know, man. I think you just take the cart. And
this is my opinion. I think Tiger Woods is sitting home saying like, my swing is. He beat Rory McIlroy this week. Like he beat fucking some of the best golfers in the planet. Justin Thomas. I think this guy is going to come around to this. And he's going to be like, why am I giving up?
What?
Rick, why am I giving up? Why am I giving up? I have one life to live. He has one life to live. He's still hitting the ball 330 yards. He's one of the greatest golfers of all time. He has a legacy he wants to pursue. Why is he giving up? Just because of all this shit that happened to his leg. He has an option that that everyone around him, Joey LaCava, by the way, was that like an approved thing? I mean, our guy Joey like talked to like the New York Post. Did you guys see that? It was like a whole thing. It was in the beginning of the week. It was like all these Joey LaCava quotes about like Tiger can't walk this golf course. His leg.
Yeah, if it wasn't the Masters, he wouldn't be playing.
I was like, whoa, that was fucking crazy. But,
I mean, that has to be approved. There's no way.
Right,
Joey's
but like Joey's like, if this guy had he's not going to take the cart. It's a whole like if he could cart this, he'd like win. It's just like do it.
Yeah, he said in his press conference. He said in his press conference, he was like, just 3 more years till I get a cart. And I think he is going to play the Champions Tour. I think he's going to fucking dominate in a cart. Like, I think he's going to win a bunch of tournaments, but I'm really interested, Riggs, that you think he's going to come around because he has said so many times, I'll never do that. I'll never do that.
Yeah, I think to Frankie's point, I think, dude, it's probably, if it's frustrating us so much, think about how much it must be frustrating him. Think about how he can hit the ball with over 180 mile an hour ball speed. He can make cuts, no problem. He can hit all the shots. He plays really well, and he probably does at home. He can just go take those guys' money, no problem. And here he has a solution that's like, no, you can do all that, except just take a cart in between shots. And I think that he honestly might, like Frankie just said, like, if he's running out of the other options, then this is just the only option at some point. Like,
if you
know what I'm saying?
If you polled the other players and you said, are you okay with Tiger Woods taking a cart? Silent poll. So their votes don't become public because they wouldn't want to cross Tiger in public, but it's a silent poll.
Okay.
What's the breakdown between yes and no?
I think it's 75% yes. Yeah, 75%.
I think it's higher. I think it's way higher.
With all
be some assholes.
You think they'd just be fine with just one guy just getting to take a cart?
I mean, do they
because guys have gotten cart before. John Daly's
like the most lovable guy ever. Everyone's like, "Oh, take your cart and your Diet Coke and fucking who knows what else is in there, and you just go play."
Yeah, but he's not a threat.
Well, that's like picking and choosing on like if you think they're gonna win or not. It's just like, is that guy allowed to have the cart? You know what I mean? Like,
but like, there's never been anyone in contention to win a major championship in a cart. That's never happened.
Well, there's never been a Tiger Woods before.
I think Tiger would do a modification of the cart. He'd take the cart in like certain scenarios.
Not 3 wheels? Like
I think you'd still see him walk up. I think you'd still see him walk up the 18th tee. I think you'd still see him walking down the fairway in certain parts. I think like Joey would take the cart in a lot of spots, but it would help him get through like the thick of the golf course. You know what I mean? I think he'd pick and choose. You wouldn't see Tiger walking up the 18th hole at fucking Augusta in a golf cart.
Right.
You would not see him rolling.
Have
slowly
Robbie
next
Mack
to
behind
Brooks,
the wheel, and then he decides when he wants to take it.
100%.
If he's not, he's just like, Robbie, go up.
I think it'd be in spots that we don't even realize it.
Joey carries the bag and Rob just drives the cart.
Yeah.
So he's got 2 guys out there.
Yeah, dude, I'll go out there too. We'll get 3 or 4 of us out there. I don't give a fuck. We'll carry him around the golf course. I still think that might be. You get a guy like the Rock size who's just his caddy. And the guy just
carry him.
Yeah, carries him after every shot. You just hop on, buddy, and he just carries him to every shot.
No, because that's far more like, I don't know if it's the right word, demeaning than just a cart. Like if someone's carries him like a baby, golf course.
Okay, like, Tiger, see you in a little bit.
No. Let's do this. Give the whole field carts. Give everybody carts.
Wow, now we're just carting everywhere.
No, I'm just saying, like that'll show Tiger that there's no difference. Like if everybody
show solidarity,
yes, just take a cart, and then if he finishes first, like, oh, I'm gonna keep taking.
He said
a
he'd
cart.
never take a cart. He also probably would have said he never would have flown off of a fucking cliff going 80 miles an hour, not hitting the brakes. So I mean, this guy is an unwritten book that's still being written, and you just don't know what the next page is going to show. And I think that next page is going to say he's going to start taking a cart because the swing's there. What drives me crazy is like he's just not healthy, and you see all these clips from just 2019 with all the back fused and how good he was playing. You just want him to be that, and you look at guys that are older than him. Phil Mickelson, we got to talk about Phil Mickelson. We mentioned it earlier on the show. The guy shoots a 65 today. He hadn't done that in 27 years.
Sick.
He matches his lowest, and now it's the lowest for the age group that he's in. He's the oldest and lowest of all time at Augusta National. Phil Mickelson with his wild see-through sunglasses that he just looks like a lunatic. And the guy is hard to look at right now, but he's a fucking problem out there. Phil Mickelson looks like he shaved like 20 years off of his life somehow, some way through all this bullshit and all of this stress and drama.
I think that's probably what it is.
Well, he's thriving. Phil Mickelson on the golf course is thriving.
Yeah, Phil's back, man. Phil's back this week. He was back cracking
jokes
with
Phil
everybody.
Mickelson? Is he 52?
He's 52.
He's
52. So he's now won a major championship. He's now won a major championship at 51 and finished second at 52. This was his 10th top 3 finish at the Masters. 10 top 3s with his 3 titles.
It can be stressful to describe the kind of haircut that you want. You don't want to be bringing in pictures. You don't want to be pulling up stuff on your phone. Maybe you look like this person. Maybe you look like that person. Sport clips. They're the pros in men's hair. Too often, hair results in a hair scare. That's what we call it. Luckily, the stylist at Sport Clips will get you dialed in. They're going to understand when you try to communicate to them what you want. They're going to understand exactly what that is, and they're going to deliver a phenomenal haircut because they're the pros in men's hair. That's what they do. You can get the MVP haircut experience where they're going to treat you like a king. Can't get that anywhere else. These are the pros. They're as good as it gets, and they specialize in men's hair.
Frank, you look like you got a haircut recently.
Yeah, I got a haircut recently. I went to Sport Clips. I got my guy Gene over there at Sport Clips. He gave me the high and tight, the Frankie high and tight. We're just trying to dial this thing in. I usually wear a hat all the time, but obviously Easter Sunday, I wanted to unleash the forehead. Nice. And I had to clean it up top. So he did a good job. It's a little short.
With your wedding coming up, you're like trying to land the plane. That's what you're trying to do with your hair for the next.
Is that a 5 head
months.
Joke? Like my forehead's so big, it's like
it feels like you're self-conscious about it because that's not what I was saying, but you took offense to something that I wasn't saying. I'm saying that you got 3 months coming up for your hair to look good, and you're on the descent right now. So you got to
I'm like
plane.
messing around with different types of lengths. Like you gotta. I think we'll be all right. I think it'll be similar to this. Honestly, it'll be like this length, so I can kind of mess around with it, give it a little curl, kind of like a movement in the front. I don't know. We'll see.
Whatever you're going to need, Sport Clips is going to provide.
Sport Clips is the only one that I'm going to. So,
and they're going to provide the MVP haircut experience. That means a 7 pressure point massage shampoo, perfectly steamed hot towel, and the freedom to not have to stress about a bad haircut. Next time you need a cut, come to Sport Clips and get a head-turning haircut from the pros in men's hair.
My main takeaway from Phil, and it's with the LIV guys in general, but Phil in particular, I miss these guys. I miss Phil. Yep. I miss having Brooks around. I miss having Patrick Reed around. I miss
the villains, dude. There's no villains on tour. Everyone's so happy and so nice now.
But someone tweeted imagine watching. Us, like, when do you like? They're still here. Someone tweeted at me being like, "This is why LIV sucks. I miss seeing these guys compete with the best in the world." It's like they're doing it right now. They're all playing.
See it 4 times a year instead of 10.
But a couple times a year instead of like all the time.
I know, but like we never
it's
really
way
got
different. They're never
up
in the
for the
media.
fucking 3M and like Phil playing against Brooks at the 3. Like,
what do you mean? Like the Phoenix Open, we were always into. The Farmers we're always into. The Memorial we're into. Like that's when those guys show up.
It's my job.
It's great.
It is your job. I'm saying that like
seeing
the
Phil
odds
do
of them
the
always being
up,
in the
dude.
mix. The odds of them always being in the mix all the time is like slim to none. But it is nice to see them all together. Is what
It'd be like watching a Marvel movie with no Thanos. There's no villain, so now everybody's happy and safe.
Golf is like if they just have a bad week, like Thanos doesn't even show up in that movie. Like so, it's different.
Yeah, but there's just an like we're talking about the game as a whole is an entertainment product, and these are key players in the entertainment part of it that we just don't get week in and week out anymore because they're just not there, and that stinks. Even Brooks Koepka, like. Even the hate towards Brooks Koepka, or the negativity towards Brooks Koepka, or Brooks's faces he's making while Patrick Cantlay's taking 45 minutes. Like, even if Brooks is in 42nd in a PGA Tour event that week, that's just entertainment and content. And that guy being out there and comments that he makes to the media, and that's him and Reed and Phil and Bubba and all these guys.
Bryson.
Yeah, Bryson, who's a content machine that just don't really exist anymore. And I get that you can watch them, but it's in a silo. It's in their own league against their own, folks. It's not intermingled with everybody else. And that's just a damn shame because I did miss these guys more than I thought. When Phil was giving his stupid thumbs up while making birdie after birdie today and charging up the leaderboard, it was fucking awesome. And when he stood there on 18 after he closed out, he gave a putter raise walk as he made his putt on the 72nd hole and his dumb little Phil fist bump. And then him and his brother stood there with that smug look on their faces as the other guys were finishing out. Like, that was fucking awesome. So I did miss them. The LIV guys, 3 of the top 6, I believe, were LIV finishers. I think 14 of 18 guys or something made the
12
cut.
Of 18.
12 of 18 guys made the cut. So if anybody, I saw somebody else trying to spin it a little bit, being like, well, this just proves that the LIV guys don't care about LIV events and don't even really play that hard week in and week out. And then they come to the Masters and they actually care about something and they play way harder. I don't give a shit what it is. What a showing for LIV overall. Like, I don't think it's going to change the ratings, or who knows, like all the actual results from that. But in terms of LIV coming in this week and dispelling folks being like they don't really play at a competitive level, they don't play 54 holes. Yeah, Brooks didn't help that whole. They don't play 72 holes. They play 54. Brooks kind of let up after after so many holes. But overall, LIV numbers we just ran. What a showing from the LIV crew this week.
Right. What LIV has really done, and the PGA Tour contributes to this, is it's just given people more things to argue about. It's like, oh, I'm a LIV guy, I'm a PGA Tour guy, which if you're on either side of that, it's weird. I know there's a lot of conversation about all of that. But what is endlessly true, unequivocally true, is that if all these guys were together, it'd be more entertaining. That's it. Like, regardless of who you like and what side you're on and whatever you want to yell at everybody on Twitter about, if all these guys played together and the tension exists the way that it did before these guys left, it's a better product. That's it.
Yeah. The one thing that I will say about LIV, though, is that this week proves they have great golfers and guys who can compete at the highest level, but it doesn't mean shit for the teams. And again, I've said this so many times on this podcast, but their whole model is the teams. And Brooks is the number one guy who doesn't give a fuck about the teams. There was a guy, he won the tournament last week, and the Torquay, the team that won, the Hispanic team, were like popping bottles behind him. It looked like he wanted to kill them. Like, their whole business model is dependent on this team thing and making golf into a team sport. And this week shows that they have great players, but it doesn't do anything for the team concept.
The interesting part about that is that, the Formula One thing, right, is what they're trying to, they get the most comparisons to it. Like they're trying to create the Formula One of golf. Formula One isn't really, when you look at the actual drivers, players in this situation, it's not really a team thing either. Like those guys hate each other. Like
there's like drama and rivalries
despise
between
each other, and they're like forced to celebrate with the other guy because there's this crazy dynamic of that's the only guy you can truly be compared against because you're driving the same car. It's the only guy that's driving the same car. So if that guy's better than you, then he's just better than you. Whereas if you're anybody else, if you're Lewis Hamilton right now, you can argue that like the Red Bull guys just have a better car. Our car sucks. That's why I suck. You don't have that dynamic. And so what will be interesting about the team aspect for golf going forward is that I don't know that it needs to be cultivated like a hockey team or a football where it's like truly a fucking team. Guys, like that inner strife and fighting and whatnot within a team in Formula One makes it insanely compelling. And so if you get a little bit of that in golf, like if you get a little bit of like, dude, we could have gotten paid $10 million more, but coming down the stretch, you doubled 2 holes in a row. Like, what do if you get some inner stuff, I think that team aspect, like the concept of taking a very individualistic sport, insanely individualistic, and then just making people play on a team together is kind of chaotic. Like that's chaos.
Yeah, and I mean the difference is that in Formula One, the team provides like the hardware. They make the car. So I don't really know how you would have that sort of situation in golf. And also the team competition in live events is the money is so much less than the individual one. So it's like it's so strange that they've staked their whole future on this team concept, but then they don't put the team concept front and center. Front and center is the individual competition. The team thing is going on at the same time. They're not playing head to head except for that one event at the end of the year, which was actually pretty decent. The one that they had at Trump last year where it was like, Cam Smith was playing Phil and it actually mattered. They need to have more of the team versus team thing if they're ever going to have.
Oh, we lost Dan Rappaport. I also think.
See you later, Dan Rappaport.
We lost you for a second there, Dan. I also think, and Brooks kind of alluded to this a couple days ago during a press conference where he's got to be thinking like, man, that was fun. That was really fun out there today and this whole weekend. And Phil may be thinking the same. I don't know how Phil thinks. That's a hard one to think about. But Brooks for sure is like, this is what I love doing. When I'm healthy, this is what I love doing. So now he's going to go back to whatever the next live event is, and it's just, there's going to be nobody there. The competition is not going to be there, and he's just really rich.
Yep. Yeah, I think so too. I think once you're in the arena like that you love that. And I think that that's what those guys crave. That's what makes them happy day in and day out. That's what they work for their entire lives. So I'm sure getting that taste of it, it's the biggest arena that we got. So it's going to be more amplified, but they got to be like that was fucking awesome playing in that. I enjoyed every second of it, and I want to get that taste as much as possible.
But they are going to get that taste, right, though, right? Like, I feel like we're missing the whole point. Like, they are getting the taste. Like, you really think that the guys on PG Tour, like, man, I can't wait to get to fucking New Orleans and play the Zurich Classic. That's going to be, there's going to be a juice in the air.
Tournaments we just brought up, like when you were at the Players Championship, when you were at the Phoenix Open, you were like, that's the best tournament in the
100%. But you guys are nitpicking. Like, I'm saying, like, he's still, like, he's going to be able to play in the Masters. He's going to be able to play the things he's always wanted to play in, the Open and the US Open and the PGA. He's still going to be able to, like, you're saying, like, he like, gave that 24. Up. Like,
he's only exempt in the Masters through 24 unless he gets in on his ranking, on his world ranking.
How many designated events are there?
8.
That's already double the amount that they're going to be playing like with the ones that matter. And you put 8 on top of the majors, so
like,
you got 12.
I think sometimes you got to we have to step back and you're saying like next week he's just going to go to like live and like no one's going to care. It's like, well, next week's like, what's the next week for the PGA
RBC
Tour?
Heritage? It's a designated event, which is psycho. The fact that they have a designated event the week after the Masters when everyone's coming down
is crazy. I didn't even know that. But I was thinking, like you just go down to New Orleans, you play the Zurich. It's like a team event. It's just like, I don't know. It's not like we're going hooting and hollering and
but
like
all
Brooks is going to be like,
even the lowest, whatever you want to go, however low you want to go, like the atmosphere, I would imagine, is much better at the lowest event than whatever live event that they're
for sure. I'm just saying, like, I do think that this proved that these guys that went for the money, which they clearly did, and they went for just like whatever reasons that they went for, but mainly the money, they were able to get everything that they really wanted. You know what I mean? They didn't care about the PGA Tour. That's why they left it. So now they get to just
until the world rankings run out.
Until the world rankings run out, for sure. But I'm just saying, like, Brooks Koepka's just like successfully getting the stuff that he wanted. He like got that fucking piece of that pie that he's been missing. He wanted that
for
taste.
now.
For sure. And I mean, you would hope that for their sake and for golf's sake, that the best golfers in the world can always play together at the in the majors, but
in the Ryder Cup
and in the Ryder Cup,
they
get everything they want if that happens. They didn't care about the PGA Tour. That's why they left. So like, if you get to give them that, and you get to give them the majors, it's like they get that fucking feeling 4 times a year. And with the Ryder Cup, if they do it, that's fucking sign them.
But unless they change the criteria, it's getting harder and harder for them to get into the majors. That's what it is.
But that would ruin golf. That would be
that won't ruin golf. Then you're losing out on whatever we had. How many? The top 3 guys, or however many of the LIV guys were in the top.
If they eliminate those guys from the majors, that wouldn't ruin golf. I think that would ruin golf for sure. So you think if there was no Brooks this year and no Phil, that wouldn't have changed anything?
I think everything moves on. The talent pool is way bigger in the majors always than like you're going to lose 5 guys.
But after seeing Brooks finish second,
12 of the 18 guys made the cut. Yeah, I guess so.
No, I'm saying I agree with you, Frankie. I'm saying after seeing a guy finish second, if you have a Masters next year where Patrick Reed, I mean, he's in because he's won it forever. But if Brooks isn't in it in 2 years and he finished second 2 years ago, it's like, well, yes, it's most of the best players in the world, but Brooks isn't here. And this year they were fine because most of the guys had their exemptions from last year from winning majors. But if this continues and they keep on going by the world rankings and they don't change the criteria for getting into majors, we're eventually going to have a situation where there are major championships, and it's like, that guy should be here.
They might not let them in because of the point I'm making. They're getting everything they want.
I think that it's a little bit crazy to be like, they don't want to play in a PGA Tour-like environment more often, and that doesn't affect these people's lives at all. Like Brooks Koepka himself last week said, like, yeah, if I was playing the way that I'm kind of feel like I'm playing now, I don't think it would have been that easy of a decision to go to LIV Golf, but I wasn't, so I went to LIV. I think like that, those guys play what, Dan, 18 events a year or something like that? That the
14.
PGA Tour? No, I'm talking PGA Tour guys play how many events a year? 18, 20, 22?
Yeah, around there.
So 4 of those are majors. That's another 15 to 20 events a year. That'd be like telling a hockey guy, like, okay, you're gonna only be able to play really in like the Stanley Cup Finals, and the rest of the year you play in like an East Coast League environment. It's like
you make $150 million, which is now we're just going over like these guys' decisions they made for the last 2 years, moving over.
Well, that's what we're talking about. What we're saying is like, are they, after getting a taste of the Masters, is a part of them being like, man, I wish I had this electric environment more often, like they have on the PGA Tour, like when we went to the Phoenix Open and you said it was better than PGA Championship, like when we went to the Players Championship and we said this event is fucking incredible. I love being here. Look at this clubhouse. It's iconic. And instead, they only get that 4 times a year, and that might be being taken away from them to a degree going forward. So I think like 18 times a year versus 4 times a year is a massive difference, I think.
Yeah, I mean, they made that decision. I think that they knew that going in, and I think that, seeing how well they performed, and I'm seeing the way that they're finishing in this Masters, I don't know how they don't see that as a success for them this year. They get all that money from LIV. They get to go do whatever the hell they want. They willingly left the PGA Tour, and now they get to have the greatest feeling of all time, like pursuing a green jacket and playing in majors. If that stays, I just don't see how that's not compelling to people. So
I will say they also didn't know what it was going to feel like. They had no idea what LIV was going to look like. They were just like, yeah, I'm going to take all this money. Yeah. I don't know what the events are going to look like. So I don't know what I'm going to be missing out on when I'm not allowed to play in these PGA Tour events. And now here I am. And
they were told that that there was no chance that the ban was going to hold up in court.
Right.
And there's no way that the world ranking are going to shut us out. LIV told these agents, like, we're going to cover your legal fees. We're going to win. It's going to sort itself out. And it still might. The world ranking stuff is still pending. And I think they should get world ranking I mean, I just don't see the argument of like, this is exhibition. It just looks a lot weaker than it did. And I understand that they've set these criteria, about they have to have a minimum amount of players, but that criteria was made in a pre-LIV world. We're now in a LIV world. And if your job is to rank the best players in the world, how can you willfully ignore these tournaments where 3 of the top 6 players in the Masters are playing?
Crazy to me.
No, I agree. I think they have a better case now than ever about getting world ranking points, and I think that they probably will, because clearly they have a lot of elite world class golfers playing on the LIV Tour. I think And I think, look, LIV clearly is having an impact because we're talking about it a bunch after the Masters tournament. So clearly they're having an impact. I think overall, like, this is a great week. Like I said, for them, for their whole thing. Greg Norman must be pumped. Whether Brooks Koepka came up short or not, I think it's a fantastic week for them. Getting to know yourself can be a lifelong process. Very true, especially because we're always growing and changing. Also very true. Think about now, I'm 36, how different you are than when you were young, 22, 23. We talk about Sam Bennett, 23, Jon Rahm, 28. We also talk a lot about mental health, how hard it is to just be happy day in and day out, to be confident in yourself, to understand who you are, what your goals are, and what's going to give you fulfillment. BetterHelp's going to help you with that. We've been lucky to be sponsored by BetterHelp for a while now, and it's a fantastic cause and a fantastic mission that they're basically achieving.
It's a great point about talking to somebody as opposed to, and when you're trying to learn about yourself, it's probably going to be beneficial to talk to somebody else as opposed to just thinking and talking about to yourself all day. You know what I mean? Like talking to someone, getting some outward opinion is probably a good thing
because you make your own judgments, your own conclusions. If you ask me to just like think about a scenario, I'll tell you every little bit of it in my own way and like how I think it's going. And if you talk to someone about it, they're like, "That's not it at all." You have to sit down, stop freaking out. It's going to be fine. How many times do I have to, like, you guys have to talk me off a ledge over a million different situations where it's like your brain can't handle it all. So having professionals there by your side to be able to go reach out to them and they can just talk you through things. You can let a lot of things off your chest and really just like figure out what's going on in your life. That's what BetterHelp is.
If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire, get matched with a licensed therapist, and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge if needed. If you want to live a more empowered life, therapy can get you there. Visit BetterHelp.com/Fore today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Fore, BetterHelp.com/Fore. I got written in my notes here, Sam Bennett. We got to talk about him. Just an insanely impressive performance. I laughed at the coverage today that said he's going right back Texas A&M. He's got 36 holes tomorrow, Monday, in like a college event that he's playing in. So he's going to go straight from playing in on Saturday in the third round, the final grouping of the Masters tournament, just right back into grinding it out in the amateur rankings. So awesome performance. The entire story with his dad and the tattoo and him really for the first half of the tournament looked like he wasn't going to go anywhere. And there's all the ghosts of Bobby Jones and of amateur golf and Augusta and the Crow's Nest and how much they've always championed amateur golf up to the Augusta National Women's Amateur and just always being amateur, and then having an amateur have one of the better finishes in a major championship in a really, really long time was just fucking incredibly impressive.
Did he lose any of you guys over the week? Like just likability or no? Honest opinion.
So I was going to talk about this. He's cocky, and I like it because we talked
Does
about
it come off like a crazy cock. I mean, the Ridgewood comment was insane. He's played hard golf courses than Augusta. It's just like, who the fuck is this? It's like that was crazy.
He had 3 subtle daggers at Augusta while he was sitting. They brought him into the press center. The first, he goes, I mean, Ridgewood. It's not just that he said it; it's the way he said it. He goes, Ridgewood. It's harder in this place, I'll tell you that much.
Crazy comment.
And then the member next to him kind of looks at him like, oh, geez. and then he goes, they didn't credential my agent this week. I don't know if they're not caught up with NIL, but I thought that was weird, which was another dig at Augusta National. And then he goes, yeah, I played in a college tournament at Floridian last week, and those greens are significantly faster than the greens here. So
dude, I mean, like Bryson called it a par 67, and we all fucking like we never wanted to see him again. And this guy's out here basically saying Augusta's like a dog track. Like he's like, I played way harder golf courses than this. It's crazy. He's like, this is a walk in the park for me. I played last week. The greens were way harder, so this is just the easiest course ever. So next question. It's just like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
I envy being that young and that confident. I will say that's just a young guy who's just like.
So it's just perception about him being young, and it's like when someone else says it comes off super cocky and like dickish, but when he says
he's just like a young kid. Cocksure kid. Yeah.
I don't know where I fall on him. I definitely like the story. The dad stuff was incredible. He was a fucking really fun to watch in the first couple of days. Obviously starting out, like the way that he would just come out of the gates, you're like, this guy is going to win this thing. It was really fun. And then like as the week went on, it's just, it just kind of picked away. I was starting to see, you peel back the onion a little bit. You see this guy's kind of like a loose cannon out there. Maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. Maybe it's a good thing. I don't know. I'm not set.
Lot of logos. Gone are the days when the amateurs would show up, in their college logos or maybe like all white in an Augusta National hat. I mean, this guy had Johnny O and Veritex Bank and this nutrition company and Ping on both sides. Right? And like, get your money, 100% get your money. I mean, he would have made a couple $100,000 this week if he was a pro. I'm sure he made a decent amount of money because his agent probably said he won the U.S. Amateur, which means he's going to be paired with the defending champion, Scottie Scheffler, which means he's going to be on TV a lot. So good for him for getting his money. But it's just like, it's funny when you see the amateurs have as many logos as the pros. It's like, so, I mean, what does it being an amateur really, really mean like at this point? If you're making money,
winnings go?
I think it gets redistributed.
Yeah,
redistributed.
There's never an option where he could like take, like, let's say he finished in first and got $3 million. He couldn't take it and just like give it to Texas A&M or anything.
Nah, you can't. I don't think you can like during the middle
donate it.
No, I don't think it's his.
So. If you were to win, can you decide then that I'm turning pro? Give me $3 million.
No, you got to turn. You have to do it before the event.
I like that. That needs to be a new wrinkle where if you win, you have the choice.
I'm not amateur no more.
He rips his fucking shirt off. Yeah. No, I think that should be an option. Only if you win, though. If you win, you have the option to take $3 million and become a pro. But.
Well, if he won, he would have gotten his PJ Tour card, and he probably would have turned pro tomorrow.
I think Sam Bennett's going to be a character on this tour. I do. I think you're going to see a lot of if he keeps that up, if he keeps that shit up, what he pulled in that media center, I think we're going to get a lot of stuff out of Sam Bennett, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I just think that he's going to be in the media a lot. I think we're going to be like, this guy's a wild card, and he's, you know what, he's going to fucking blow us away. He says there's no such. What's that one quote he keeps saying? I guess it's a famous quote where it's like, it's not like a golf swing. It's like
it's not golf. It's golf, not golf swing.
Yeah, it's called golf, not golf swing. He kept saying that. It's just like I don't even know what that means.
In this place, I'll tell you that much. Tougher in this place. Tougher in this place.
Yeah. As a storyline guy, I love a Sam Bennett. You just because you don't know what you're going to get.
It's rare to see one of these young guys too that doesn't bomb the golf ball. Like I feel like all of the young guys that come out bomb the golf ball, and he was playing a kind of a completely different brand of golf. So I thought it was refreshing. He's an amateur up there in the mix. It was fun to watch. I thought
really fun.
Shout out to Scottie, airmail on the 12th green today. That was one of the more shocking shots I've ever seen in my life.
By 20 yards
on 11 makes an absolute bomb, and they show him. He gets this incredible standing ovation that the champions get walking up to the 12th tee. Kind of vaulted himself into the mix a little bit. You see these other guys, Brooks and Rahm, weren't necessarily going crazy low, and then he hit the ball. If it's 150, he hit it 175. I mean, it wasn't even fucking close up into the shit. Took him right out of the tournament. That was just one of the more stunning things. I actually thought he was going to flip his club over afterwards and check the number on the bottom.
He stood there afterwards,
and I was standing there.
I was looking into his eyes, and I was like, he's thinking, what club am I holding right now?
Did I hit a 6 and not a 9?
I think he's still standing there looking out. I'll always picture that. I should picture when I think of Scottie Scheffler, I should picture him wearing the green jacket. I may always picture him staring out at the 12th green, being like, "Now what the fuck just happened?" Because no one knew.
No, and your brain becomes trained to understand when something is in the air for too long in golf. Like they show that shot so many times throughout the week.
Yeah.
Your brain just inherently knows. Like us with 15-second Instagram swipe ups. Like when one of our social guys tells us to do it, our brain knows at 14 and a half seconds that we're there. We just know because we do it all the time. You watch that fucking shot over and over again. You know how long that ball is supposed to be in the air. And right after he hit it, I kind of heard him say, "Sit." And the ball was in the air for like a second longer than it's supposed to be. And I was like, what? And then when it came down, the camera was like, you couldn't even see the green or barely even see the back bunker. The camera just showed like that hill, the pine straw, the bushes, the flowers. It wasn't even fucking close. So that was one of the more shocking things I've ever seen. And then the other shocking thing I saw today was Barstool Lurch linked to his own Twitter account on his own Instagram story. Did you guys see that?
Oh, I saw that. Yeah. I got a good laugh out of me. Because he tweeted something. I forget what he tweeted. And then he put the tweet up or whatever it was on an Insta story. And then he put it up again in the next story. But the only thing that was different was he included a link to his Twitter. And it just said Twitter.
It was incredible. Yeah, he linked like
we
when
get
we
this
linked
guy
to
on the
like
show. He knows we're recording right now. Can we just get him to join the show? He knows we're recording the Masters recap. He's on the. Ben Severance is a part of Foreplay. He can just come on the show. He knows he can. Like he is. I'm texting him right now. Where are you? What are you doing right now? Right,
yep,
like
that's fair.
He's a percentage of the show, right? He's a percent. He needs to come on. He needs to come on the show. He has to come on the show.
Like when we do a link to our spring merchandise, he did that to his own tweet on his Instagram story.
Bizarre.
It was incredible. Yeah, it was one of the more shocking things
done
again.
Before, but it could revolutionize
even
social media.
Jake Bass even side texted me. He was like, "Did you see this Lurch link on his Instagram story?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I fucking saw it." So,
if
Alex Bush, just send him a link. Alex Bush, just send him a link. Send Lurch a link.
All right. If we're going through things that were stunning, I want to throw Vern Lundquist breathing into the mic into the mix on 16. Every time I love Uncle Vern. He's a legend. Mm-hmm. He's obviously a legend. Like that goes without saying. But when they would throw to 16, all you would hear was, all right, Sam Bennett is standing on the tee. And then the ball would be in the air. And you realize, like, when the ball is in the air, that's when, obviously, the announcer is breathing, but they have a button that they hit. But he was just the whole time, ball's in the air, and he's just, all right, he's on the front part of the green. It was really incredible, and I love him.
You know what Alex and Brendan listen to every time they edit like our mics now when we're out there fucking playing golf and huffing and puffing.
Speaking of 16, how about Sahith?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Great debut for our boy, low Masters rookie, finished I think tied for 8th. So unbelievable. He said that when he hit it over there, he was he had to clear a bunch of the fans out, and they said everyone was saying, "Chip it in for Tiger, do the Tiger chip and do it, you know where to hit it." And then he made it. It was pretty an electric moment. Huge debut for the kid. Very happy for him.
He's just he's got a charisma to him that is like you could feel it. That when the ball went in, he didn't just like the crowd didn't just go like, "Oh, great, oh that's awesome." People were going crazy, and he's going crazy.
He's also got a very clear characteristic of this guy loves life. Like he loves what's happening. He loves the things around him.
He's grateful.
He's so grateful, and he's smiling, and he's like, "This is so cool." And he had the comments about how he doesn't even think he should be a top 30 player in the world, that the rankings must be wrong. And he's just out there smiling, enjoying everything. And that's so infectious. Like when someone is just really into it, it's like when Barstool's made a whole business on that. When you find somebody who's like, what is it, Detroit Don or whatever, who's just like obsessed with their team and they love everything about their team. And that's how he is with golf in his life. It feels like he's just obsessed with being a pro golfer and that he gets to live this life and he gets to play chess against people on the fucking computer. And he's just happy to be out there. So when you see that guy hold a Tiger shot, that was an excellent moment. He said afterwards, I think Danny said that was the most fun round of golf he's ever played in his life.
Yeah, he said it was just the energy was just out of control. I mean, his first Masters, you're wide-eyed the whole time. He got off to a nervous start. He shot 73 in the first round and just kind of kept on creeping his way up. He's a star. And I think he definitely, like Trent was saying, he's got a star quality where there's almost no one who doesn't like him.
Is it top 12 gets you an invite back? Is that right?
Yeah, top 12 and ties. So he's locked in. Don't think he'll need it because, he'll be top 50. He'll make the Tour Championship, all that stuff. But yeah, he's guaranteed to come back next year.
Oh, amazing. So great work by him. That's your guy. But yeah, shout out to the weather coming around. It looked like this might be a horrific Monday finish. And even early, like midweek, it looked like Monday was like 70% chance of rain too. So it's like, dude, this could be one of the more sketchy efforts to get this tournament in. And then Sunday today turned out to be beautiful. I do like at least the weather being cold made me feel better about myself watching television golf for the first time in a while because they're hitting the ball nowhere. And you're like, okay, I get it now. Like when we do the Dad Bod Classic, for example, it's like 45 degrees and we're raining a little bit. And you're out there at sea level and the ball's going nowhere. And then you turn on TV and they're carrying it like 325 all over the place. You're like, what the fuck? But even them with that brutally cold weather, the wind into their face, JT, I think yesterday hit like his tee shot before he missed a cut.
240
trying to grind. Hit it like, yeah, you hit it 240 or something, his driver on 18. So that made me feel a little bit better. I like to see that.
Somebody hit
Rahm hit the fairway today.
Somebody hit like a 3-wood into the green on 18 today. Yes. I think Colt was like, it's the first ever like fairway wood ever hit on the fairway at Augusta on 18. It's like, I mean, who the hell did that? And they pulled it way left into the crowd. That was crazy. I was like, are they? Because that must have been what at most like a 220 shot, and they're ripping fucking 3 or 5 wood. Like that's how you know that ball was going nowhere.
Dude, I think it was Hovland had like 164 into 18 and he hit a 5-iron. And I was
crazy.
like, dude, this is great. Because on TV, when they're standing on the tee on like 7 at Pebble and the wind's whipping into their face, you can see it and sense it. You couldn't really sense it. So it looked like he's just standing there in the middle of like a decently nice day, hitting a 5-iron from 164 into the 18th green. So just seeing, those numbers and seeing how like the elements can affect the hell out of those guys too, not just us, just made me feel better about myself. So I enjoyed that.
Prayers up for anyone that bought tickets just for Saturday at the Masters.
Brutal,
just a tough day. Like, you probably won the lottery. It's just the biggest day of your life. You're heading there to Augusta, Georgia, and you just can't believe you're about to go into the Masters. Trees are falling down. People are. I had a buddy, Brian Axelrod, shout out to Axe. He went and he just like, it was his first time ever. And he's like, I couldn't see anything. He goes, it was chaos. He's like, people are falling everywhere. Like you would take like 5 or 6 steps and people would just slip and just like, you couldn't even keep your footing. That grass is so slippery and all those hills are so undulating. Just wanted to shout out all those people. Hopefully you get a chance to go back because that's no way to experience the greatest place on earth.
Great point. And I would say, being around Greyhawk yesterday, ran a bunch of people like, oh, were you at the Masters this week? Yeah, what's it like? And we've all been, Dan's there all week. It's the highest recommend I could possibly give to anyone of any event. I don't think anything delivers quite like going to the Masters tournament. I think the efficiency of it, being in there without your cell phone, seeing the golf course, the fact that like even if there wasn't a single player on the course, that seeing the course itself would be worth the price of admission. Just walking the holes 1 all the way through 18, seeing how they do the merchandise, being able to buy merchandise there, going through the concessions and how perfect those are, having a beer while standing in Augusta, Georgia, watching the best players in the world come by, not being distracted by anything on a cell phone. It's just the greatest experience in sports. So couldn't finish this show without saying that. I want to go
as a fan.
That was the first time I've ever really done that, was on Thursday, because I don't think we've ever been to a tournament round before. I think we had just done the practice round a couple different times. Frankie and I went on Wednesday last year during the part 3, and there's a bunch of rain. It was a little bit dicey. So I've been in there a few times, but Thursday was the only day where I went with 5 college buddies. We got there, like I said, at 7:30 in the morning. We bought chairs, we put them down, and we just hung out. If you suffer from the symptoms of ADHD, lack of focus, no productivity, your brain is constantly wandering, you need to check out Proper Wild's clean all-day energy shots. Proper Wild uses organic caffeine stacked with L-theanine, which has clinically been shown to boost your energy, focus, and productivity without the jitters or crash. That's incredibly important with golf, with really anything. You don't want those jitters. You don't want to try to get energy from some unclean trash source that's going to cause those jitters and a crash and a problem. No. That's why we like Proper Wild. Clean, efficient, no preservatives, no artificial sweeteners, no horrible chemicals, just a natural tasting energy shot with clean ingredients that work, fellas.
Yep,
right. If you're drinking coffee, you're probably putting sugar and cream
and the jitters. It gets you going. Like I'm not a guy that can have coffee. I already run too hot.
You need something else. You need something clean.
I need Proper Wild, and they have the amazing flavors: strawberry, kiwi, lemon, lime, apple, ginger, peach, mango, blackberry. We've used this on the golf course. We have them in our golf bag. It's an amazing way to really just get going. You don't have the crash down. It's clean. It's real juices. The flavors taste amazing. I'm telling you right now, order it, throw it in your golf bag. You're going to love it for those times that you just feel like you need a pick-me-up. You need a nice, healthy pick-me-up.
30% off. You can try Proper Wild right now at properwild.com/barstool. 30% off. Go to properwild.com/barstool and please try Proper Wild at 30% off.
Big man.
I texted Lurch. I said, are you going to join the show? And he said, I'm in an Uber for an hour. I said, just fucking join the show. Just like we need to see that you're alive. You are in a dark Uber, I'll tell you that.
I was just trying to play with the lights, but they are not coming on. So whether I'm alive or dead is still TBD.
What are your overall takeaways from the Masters?
First of all, how are you? Are you okay as a human being? How has life been?
Life's good. Life's good. Nothing really new. Just living this life, putting one foot in front of the other, and kind of going day
Niall
by day.
Horan telling you where the hell are you? Stop selling drones. That must have been a crazy moment.
That was wild. I didn't see that one coming. And then I do want to put together a video of me singing slow hands to him while hitting wedges. So I got to do that and send it back.
That'll be after the video that you're supposed to do the first time.
That'll be like a week old, which is just in Lurch for him. No, life's good. Hit a couple Masters bets, lost a couple for sure. You know what's really frustrating are those the bundled payouts when you have like, dude, I had Sanjay
Top
in
10.
top 20. He finished like
Yeah.
T17, and because it goes to T23, I get the math, but it's just infuriating. One time,
Yeah,
I
it's a
was
tough one.
I was in
It
the
is
money,
infuriating.
and say I bet $1,000 on it, I only got $800 back. It's like my brain doesn't even understand how you can lose. Anyways, that's a whole nother thing. I love the Masters more than anything in the world is the takeaway. I think that tournament's as good as it gets. It was a bummer to see Rory go out the way that he did. It was wild to watch just the up and down play of everybody. I mean, Viktor Hovland goes out and shoot whatever 6, 7, 8 under on day one and then played even par golf for the rest. You got Phil Mickelson coming out of the clouds today, him and Spieth. I wish I bet that group. They were just making birdies everywhere. That was lovely. Yeah, shout out to Jon Rahm, though. He was fabulous. I mean, he was turning Trevor Immelman on. Every time he hit a golf shot, I thought
Yeah.
Immelman was going to come his pants. I mean, like, when he hit that drive down 13, whoever his counterpart was, talking to Immelman was like, no, it's better than that. That shot was majestic. You don't even understand how good it was. So, yeah, it was just –
I think on 16 when Rahm hit it, Trevor goes, oh. I have to go back and see if that was the hole, but there was one hole where he just let out an elongated moan, and I remember I made a mental note that, like, yeah, Trev definitely – he didn't say saddle, by the way. I don't think he
Which
said
was a
saddle
bummer.
once.
There was such an opportune time, too, when Rahm was looking down the wedge on 18 on Sunday. I was like, dude, is he going to whisper saddle? Because they showed the lens behind him, and I was like,
100%.
It looks like a saddle. Say
Looks
the
like a
word
saddle.
saddle.
Right. I want to be clear. I get that. I love Trevor Immelman. I get that it's a big week and there's a lot of pressure. Like, just get through the Masters coverage and, like, survive. But there was that moment on 18. The camera was behind Rahm looking at the green, and Jim Nantz said, now explain to me the difficulty of this shot, Trevor.
Oh.
And I was like, well, this is it. I mean, if we're ever going to have an opportunity to say saddle, it's going to be right here. He did end up saying it. And again, I understand it's a pressure packed week. The Masters is a big deal. It's his first one, but yeah, no saddle. But that's okay. And I think we lost Lurch.
He's just
My
on the
computer's
road.
gonna die. I'm worried about.
Was there? Has anyone been hearing like the iPhone making the charging noise? Has anyone been trying to charge something?
Yeah, it's my computer. My computer charger's at my other. I don't have it with me, so I'm grinding.
If that's actually been coming through your mic, I think people are gonna like throw their AirPods like into a river for this.
When
podcast.
he's not talking, it'll be muted anyways.
Okay,
I heard it like 5 or 6 times.
Because that's such a triggering noise. There's like, whang! It's like the phone or the laptop charging, and it's been happening every 2 seconds. I mean, it's been an hour and 4 minutes of that.
Well,
So
the problem is
I
found this thing that like will charge, but it's not a computer charger, so
Yep.
it's keeping
It's
it
so
like,
slow
Dude,
burn.
I texted Alex saying, are you hearing this or am I going insane right now? So apologies to anyone if you've been here. It's almost like when Trent, when we would stream PJ 2K23 and then on like my PC, I would get that like Outlook notification just because like it'd say like you need to update.
Yeah,
and people would be like,
that one's.
I don't want to hear getting a ping from work right now at 9:30 at night on Sunday while you guys are playing video games. Lurch keeps trying to get in and out, but he can't. But it's always great to hear from the big fella. And here he is again.
Yeah, I'm back.
This is the Lurch
Yeah, I mean,
experience.
well, this is right back to like the olden days where it was, who knew who was talking, who was in, who was out. Maybe this link has gotten better. Who knows?
I think we got a good recap from you on it. The only
We
other
did get a
thing,
nice recap.
This is kind of what brought you up into our minds was the move that you pulled on Instagram where you put up a tweet and then the next story was the tweet again, but it was a link to your Twitter, which we thought was a beautiful way to promote your Twitter.
Dude, and it feels like I might get cut out again, but I still see Frankie's face moving, so I think I'm still with you boys. I don't know how you guys don't do the double Instagram story. That happens to me. I mean, most of my stories just go up as doubles. I don't know what I do, fat finger, anything, but I'll literally write something, delete it or whatever, and two stories go out. And then, like, I'll get a message like, you just did it again, idiot. Like, you have two stories of the same thing out.
But that's not what he's saying. He's saying that you took a screenshot of your tweet where you said Koepka is used to 54 holes, hashtag live. And then you put that on Instagram. Funny. It's the whole thing. You're like, this is what I do on Twitter. I'm showing Instagram. And then you wrote underneath it, Twitter. And like you gave people the option, be like, here's that tweet again, but just on a different platform. So if you'd like to go see this same exact tweet, you can go click this link and look at the same tweet. That to me is asking so much of people to just, enjoy your content. But it makes me laugh because it's so stereotypically you. It's perfect.
No, I'm not great at the social media. That World Wide Web is a tricky game when you start getting into
Twitter.
WWs. But yeah, no, I got nothing for that except I'll say I think my statistics on sending out double Instagram stories are a third of all stories that I go out are doubles. I mean,
I think how you could even do that.
It's
on
unbelievable. It's so unintentional, and then I'll just get
half
a message.
The time Instagram will be like, "You already posted."
I wish they would. I wish I'd love that, but I don't.
Do you ever like go back and look and just be like right after you post it, be like, "Oh, that
I'm not a huge as you see like the typos and things. It's more just like as soon as the fingers feel it, it's going out there, and there's really not much. There's no editing that goes on.
Gotcha.
I'll say quick before I hang up with you boys. The other takeaway that I want to give a shout out to the Masters, their ability to somehow finagle all the tee times and get people out was unbelievable. I'd like the tee times today, who was going out. I had a play on the postman to have a top 40 finish. I wonder if he finished, because he finished up the 9th hole and was done on 9. And everybody's watching 18. He's finishing up, and everybody's just got their backs turned on. Nobody cares, and he finished like T33. Like, I was thinking about how they're all moving around the golf course and how just, like, that is the most careless, who the hell cares you finish the Masters of all time, because nobody's looking at the 9th green. Everybody's looking at 18 to see people come up. But I thought they did a phenomenal job with all the weather getting people out on certain tee times. So
you're saying to me, as the final group was up there, someone's on 9, just like
postman finished like when the second group came up. It was insane.
That's
it
horrible.
Was like, and nobody's looking. You know what I mean? Just like everybody's back, and he's coming up 9, just trying to have this special moment. I got a good chuckle out of that.
That is funny. That's a funny thought, because I didn't really realize that was going on either until they showed Fred Couples finishing, and they're like, "Oh yeah, he was on the other side of the golf course," and they panned over there. But I never thought about the fact that there's probably 25,000 people very close to him just looking the other direction,
and not even be like, "Yeah, whatever. I don't know who that is." Like, no big deal. I mean, like Postman's obviously got a name, not a huge name. Couples, they'll probably turn around, but for the Postman and Fleener. Like, I don't think anybody's looking in their direction. They're just like, no, they probably just let some members on. I don't know what's going on over there. You know what I mean? Because you got to, like, the only reason I was dialed in because the app, I'm checking scores, the whole thing of how we finished up. But
right, it's like when we have the Barstool Classic, like in our our block of tee times finishes, like the public play or like the members will tee off right after, and you start seeing those guys come through. Like that's what people like a casual golf fan at the Masters that just got brought in a buddy's trip is probably like, oh yeah, those are just like the guys playing after the Master. Like that's just after the tournament. Those guys are just playing.
Yeah, really good.
That's the next tournament for like tomorrow. Well, all right, thanks boys. For checking in, Lurch.
Big man.
Yeah, it's good seeing your faces. Sorry I couldn't show off mine. Now I just got an L on the screen.
Because, they'll put some sort of picture of you.
I think L on the screen is perfect. Terrific. That's funny stuff.
Yeah. Oh, quick shout out to a game that we created. So kind of an impromptu, like, bachelor party kind of for a buddy, just because he wasn't having one. He's getting married in Italy, kind of a tough ask to make people do crazy travel. So we're in Boston. Buddies are together, trying to think of a competitive game. We've got 9 people, break up into groups of 3s. We played an alternate shot game in a simulator. That was fun. Then we're thinking, all right, we want to go to a bar. How do we kind of gamify this? Break into groups of 3. everybody trades phone with somebody else. So you give your phone to somebody else, and now you've got to get from that location to the bar across the city, and you can't take an Uber or a cab, and you've got to figure out a way to get to that bar by asking people. Kind of the most amazing race. Some people just sprinted. Really fun time, because when you cut the phone and any talking out of your possession, it becomes much more intricate and difficult. So anyways, just a little word of wisdom out there to anybody trying to gamify how you get from position A to position B. Trade phones with somebody else in the group, and then you're on your own.
So trading phones means that because you can't log into their phone, so it's just a useless piece of technology.
Right, exactly. It's just exactly. But
you want to bring it to the bar.
Still has ownership. Right, so then you trade with them when you get to the bar.
It's the dumbest game ever, but I love it.
Dude, super fun. I mean,
it's like Manhunt. Like when I was in 10 years old, we would just go out and just run to the next town. Be like, "Do you think we can make it to Levittown?"
I will say Boston is maybe the best city for that, because it's just the right size where could run or walk there, but it's going to take you a while. Whereas if you did that in New York, I mean,
nightmare.
Yeah, you might half the guys would just die and would never make it.
All right.
So people started running, and we got a friend, PMAC, who's got bad asthma, and when he showed up to the bar because we were sitting outside, because he was in a dead sprint for the last couple hundred yards,
Mincy.
Just pushing a poor man. His body is not in great shape, and so he was pushing it to the limits. When he showed up, I mean, he looked dead. It was fantastic game if you're trying to make things a little bit different. Add some gamification in anything you're doing.
Amazing.
But that's what I'll end with you on. So great weekend, a lot of fun. Masters is sick.
I love it.
All right.
I love it, Lurch.
All right, hit it hard, fellas. Enjoy yourself.
All right, big man.
Mentioned it earlier, but we're here. Our characters, myself, Frankie, Trent, we are in PGA Tour 2K23. Tiger Woods is also in that. This is the exclusive game where Tiger Woods appears. We appear right next to Tiger Woods. You can literally start the game, pick a golf course, and then the characters that you're going to choose to play in a foursome can be us three on this show right here who look just like us. Our mannerisms are like us. It's nuts how accurate this thing is. And you can also play with Tiger Woods.
The time has come. The time has come. You're going to go to the menu. You're going to get PGA Tour 2K23. You're going to go to the menu. You're going to select player, and you're going to see options for Tiger Woods, Steph Curry, Tony Finau. You're going to see Justin Thomas, and then Michael Jordan. Then you're going to see Sam Bazoyan, Trent Ryan, Frankie Borelli. We used up 3 of those slots. Think about how crazy that is. We used up 3 of those slots as if we were 3 individual people of importance. That's nuts to me. Michael Jordan only got 1 slot. What's happening? Do they know what's happening? Does anyone over there know what's going on? Why is this happening? I don't know, but all I know is I can't wait to see these people sending in clips of you playing with Trent Ryan, with myself, with Riggs, trying to hit the shots. You got to go play Butters Bay. You got to go play Knives Creek. You got to go play all the courses that they have in there. Pebble Beach. They've got Torrey Pines. They've got, the list goes on and on. All user-created golf courses. Your mind's going to be blown. If you don't have PGA Tour 2K23 right now, you're a moron, because it's the greatest golf game ever. And if you do have it and you haven't dusted off the sticks in a while, now's the time. Update the game. We're going to be in it. Make sure you're on. We're going to be streaming today while you're listening to it. We're streaming us playing with our characters for the first time. It's every kid's dream. This is insane. When we wake up tomorrow, we're going to play a video game with our characters. That's fucking nuts.
It says right here, PGA Tour 2K23 is the exclusive home to Frankie, Riggs, Trent, and Tiger Woods. It says that right here on this copy. So go check it out. Make sure you pick it up or download the game now. That's PGA Tour 2K23.
I do think, sort of piggybacking off that game, I guess, and the Masters and not having your phone, I think if you, the Masters is one thing. Going to Augusta, they take your phone. You're at the best golf course in the world. They figured out the concessions. It's all streamlined. You're there with your buddies. It's the drinks are cheap. The food is cheap. I think we're so obsessed with our phones, and they've broken our brains to a point where I think if you went to a park and they took your phone away, I think you would have a million times more fun than like with your phone. Like that, the idea of taking a phone away, and I haven't been able to not look at my phone for 10 years. I look at it a million times a day, every single day. We kind of don't have the option, but we do because we exist, and we can put our phones away. Not having your phone, even not going to the best place in the world, is going to enhance the experience times like 50.
Yeah, it's like it's doing like an activity. Like when we go play pickleball, you're just like out there having fun. Like you're just like doing things with people.
That's what our brains are programmed to do.
Right,
is just do things with people
underneath like the bench, and you're just like not like worrying about it, and you just fucking are doing other things, and then you like look,
and then you get that hang
later.
of anxiety when you pick it up again because you're like, I don't want to step back into this world. I liked that little bliss where I was just without it.
Like I think I would be stunned if I knew the amount of times that I check my phone during the day. I don't know the number because I don't keep track, and I just do it out of instinct. But I bet it's like 500 times, and it's crazy.
Going Thursday as a fan without a phone was unequivocally a win and a positive the whole day. It was perfect. Just
it's going back in time, man.
Yep. Zero connection to it, zero requirement to it, full attention to everything else that's going on, full engagement in conversation, in the jokes that your crew comes up with throughout the day, that your crew recycles throughout the day, chatting with other people. It's just like, it's such a different style of day-to-day life. It was shocking, and it was great.
We make jokes about my dad because he doesn't take his cell phone anywhere. It just sits on the couch. So like when he's sitting there, he'll use it. But then when we go out to dinner or where we go golfing, he won't bring it. And we're like, look at this guy not bringing his phone. And the sick and twisted part of it is that he's doing it probably the right way. And he's not thinking of it like, he's not thinking like, I'm going to leave my phone so I can enjoy myself. That's just how he lived for 55 years before cell phones showed up. So he's just like, this is how I go about my day. But I guarantee he has a more engaging experience everywhere we go than the rest of us, because we're all just checking Twitter when there's a half a second of free time.
Do you think we're beyond that point of civilization where like our generation is ever going to miss something that the younger generation's doing when it comes to something as important as a cell phone? I feel like the older generation is so not stubborn, but like they're so like about their own way that they like won't even get a phone. They won't go on Twitter. They won't go on whatever. Something as big as the cell phone is like your dad won't even take it to dinner. Like, do you think we'll ever have a scenario like that in our generation where like when we're 60, the things that something will come up from the 10-year-olds or whatever, like that generation, and we're just not going to get it because we're like, we don't need that. I feel like we're beyond that. Like we're going to get everything. We're always going to get everything. You think it'll happen?
I think it happens to every generation.
We're just still young, I think. It's like, I think like when you're 60, dude.
Something as big as like, I guess so. I don't know.
Think back to like, what was a shift before? Like the car was a shift. When the cars started to become
I don't know how to really formulate. Like,
I know what you mean. Like the cell phone.
Say.
I think what you're trying to say is the cell phone was such a big shift in the way that people operate. That is just,
I just don't even know if there's any more like that.
The internet completely changed it. Having the answer to everything in the palm of your hand all the time is something they couldn't conceive of, 60 years ago or whatever. And now that's just part of who we are. But there are people like my dad and older people who are just like, I'm not going to do that because that's not the way that I want to do it.
I guess I don't know the answer because it hasn't happened. Yeah, TV. But like,
I bet it was TV. I bet there was a generation that was like, I can't believe you guys are just sitting in front of this machine all day. You need to be out like we were talking and playing tag.
100%.
Like, I guess you'll never know until it happens. But like, are we like, have we?
Well,
is there going to be something as
like a Neuralink?
A Neuralink. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Okay, so now that
I don't want no
talking
fucking Neuralink at dinner.
Right. If all the younger generations get Neuralinks in them, and you're like, that's exactly what it is. Okay. So I was saying that like, have we run out of inventions that will change the world in our lifetime? Like as big as the phone, the car, all that shit.
We're just closer to becoming robots. So if whatever is closer to becoming one with a robot, that's it.
Now it's like our generation's like, if you're not on TikTok, you're old. So, but it's like, that's within the phone. Like that's a social media app that I'm not going to join. Like that's not like the change of the world. That's just like, you're not on TikTok, you're not on YouTube. It's like, well, no, I have the phone. I'm doing that. Like I meant like an actual invention, physical.
Yeah. But I will say though about TikTok, like that has evolved for what I've noticed, where people will literally like, instead of watching TV shows or binging a show or a movie, they're like, I'm just watching TikTok. I'm literally going to lay in bed for 2.5 hours and watch TikTok.
Yeah.
Emma, when I'm like before bed, I'm watching a TV show and I'm like, oh, you want to watch? She's like, no, I'm just watching TikTok. I'll be like, oh, what'd you do this afternoon? She's like, yeah, I just like sat on the couch, watched TikTok for like an hour and a half, then I walked the dog.
Watch TikTok.
No,
Dude,
that's what they do.
That's
I'll go
wild.
on stretches where I won't open TikTok for a month, but then like recently, these last couple of days, I've been on it a lot, and I'll watch TikTok during the commercial breaks of the Masters. So when they throw a commercial, I pull up TikTok and I'm just scrolling. It's a
TikTok.
problem.
I like TikTok. I like making TikToks. I think it's good.
Viktor Hovland's outfit this week, his outfits were out of control. Just to bring it back to golf for a second.
He also hates them.
Yeah,
And,
why
like,
does he do that?
Was like, he was
Who
like,
does
I
he
had
work
nothing to do
for?
with it.
You know what I mean? Like he is the guy. They work for him.
He was like, they're asking him, he's like, I had nothing to do with this. I'll just say it was better
What does
than
that
my
mean?
pants last year.
He can do whatever he wants.
It's better than my pants last year. Why do you just not wear the pants then?
We watched Colin Morikawa on Full Swing be like, this doesn't fit my like aesthetic or my brand. And he's like, I won't wear these pants. I'm not going to wear these pants. And he didn't. And like, it's amazing to me that guys at the level of Viktor Hovland will just accept these outrageous shirts. Imagine the guy won the Masters in that shirt. I mean, you can't win the Masters in that shirt. You can't.
Probably why he didn't win.
Right. That guy's a fucking. Do you think Viktor Hovland he's going to be like one of those guys now next year and the year after? You're like, you got to bet Viktor Hovland. He always shows up at the Masters. He always shows up in the majors, and he's always going to be that like Xander Schauffele that just never gets it done, but like plays really well. And he's just going to be a forever top 10 at the majors, Masters, but never going to fucking lift a trophy. I feel like he's going to be that guy.
It's possible. I mean, his chipping has improved a lot. It was like a glaring weakness in his game, and he showed a lot of improvement. Like if you can chip at Augusta, you can chip anywhere. So I think he hits it good enough. He drives it well enough that he's going to be up there because he's, on these tough courses where they weed out the kind of flimsy ball strikers, he shines. So like U.S. Opens, PGAs, I think he'll be up there, and it's just a function of whether he can get it in the hole because his ball striking is as good as anybody's.
He's 25 though, too.
Wow.
That's craziness. 25 years old.
He's
25. Oh my God, I was way off on that. If you would have asked me that, I would have said 28, 29.
No,
Rahm
he's one of those
is
really
28.
young guys.
See, I thought he was around
Rahm's
Rahm's age.
Rahm is a month older than I am, and we low-key have the same haircut. He's 28.
I'm like 3 weeks older than Rory McIlroy, which is
I like that.
Unfortunate.
Rahm's a beard guy too. We don't have a ton of beard guys in golf.
No.
Oh yeah, he's got a full one too. It grows like very high up his face. It's like
It's like
like
Rick
almost
Ross.
under his eyeballs. Yeah,
Rick Ross has a beard like that.
I love
and
that.
so does White Sox Dave.
Not a ton of beard guys in golf, so I like that he's a beard guy.
Russell Henley, that name popped up. Just a long sleeve shirt with buttons by the neck. That guy's a pretty good golfer. He really is.
great iron player.
Well, that was the cool thing about today was like it was a 2-man race pretty much the whole day, but there were pop-ups of Spieth and Scottie and Russell and all these guys just sort of like got on the Cantlay, Cam Young. They all just kind of got on the edge, and it never worked.
Birdie. He doesn't care. Just made another par. So.
I have a feeling that Cam Young is going to be.
It's over here. Okay.
Cam Young's going to be the next guy.
That's what he does, dude. It's the
your
beard.
Cam Young shake kills me.
It's the facial hair or something. He just doesn't fucking show emotion.
I think
here's
here's my prediction for Cam Young. And
he's in
regards
regards
to this podcast. Yeah, he's going to be the guy who comes on the show and he's awesome. And we're going to be in love with him. No, where he's going to be like super cool and normal and like loves baseball and like we're just going to be huge fans of his.
He does an MLB logo.
I'm not anti Cam Young. He makes me laugh out there. He just shows no emotion, and I would love to ask him if it's all like process of as part of his process. Just nothing matters. Just this is the way I golf. I don't get excited
for a mile. Dude.
Yep. I don't get excited for eagles. I don't get excited for birdies. I don't get mad about bogeys. I just golf. And at the end, hopefully I win.
Another beard guy.
Yep.
All right, boys, we got Succession to watch. So if you guys are all set, I'm going to wrap this thing up.
That's a great call.
All right.
I got to drive to Aiken, South Carolina, so I'm down to wrap up.
Is like anything else pop up? It was the Masters.
Yeah, it's like 40 minutes.
That's fucking it. We've been talking for an hour and 22 minutes.
All right. Unbelievable Masters. Congratulations to Jon Rahm. Just everything from the LIV guys, Phil, I just all delivered. The weather kind of came through in the last day and at least allowed there to be a nice sunny finish and the whole deal. So congratulations to the Masters tournament and Augusta National. They did it again. They always do it incredibly well. Congratulations to Jon Rahm, friend of the program. And we'll be back on Thursday. Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.